Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to a new series I'm going to start doing once every 2 weeks. This is going to be arena bonus units. We're just going to take a look at some of the common ones that I think most people might have access to, and try to figure out how to keep you guys into tier 20, tier 21, or even moving in between, or even staying tier 21 like I am on both accounts right now. Humble brag there. Great summoner on both accounts, 3 weeks in a row. Really hyped about that. So I just want to go over some builds, how I go about scoring, and who I think is kind of useful or the most useful this week. So let's start off with the 10 units we have. Granted, we have Hector, Ephraim, Celica, Veronica, and Sharena here. But basically everybody has at 5-star, at least one of them obviously, because you have the free unit. All of these are fantastic, but none of them can really hold you into tier 21 unless you have an insane team behind it. So I'm not really going to go over those outside of Sharena since she's kind of a popular one. But in general, with Hector, with Ephraim, with Veronica, with Celica, their base kit is fantastic and you can just fill in the blanks with decently scoring things. My alt actually did its run with Hector, and I will have that video out probably tomorrow or the day after. Just watch Hector just destroy everything. Like, it's absolutely bonkers. So let's get into a couple of the units we go over. As for my account here, I went with Palla. I love Palla here. So big of a fan of her now. I wasn't before, but I never really looked at her art. I never really gave her a good enough chance, and I'm glad I did now because I love her. She's one of my favorite characters, and one of my favorite to use. And this is with a pretty bad build, but it's just for scoring purposes. I decided on Armor Slayer because in order for me to really score higher, I need to spend another 20,000 feathers, and I just don't think that's worth it for the arena this week, and I'd rather have a pure arc weapon for her eventually later. So anyways, let's get into some builds here. I'll have a link to this website in the description below. Also, I'll have a link to the exports here as well if you're looking for something like that. So I'm going to use my 3 units as a base here since they're kind of average, I would say. Like, they're a bit higher than I think a lot of people's are going to be, but they're not as higher as people who use armors. So it's a good middle ground for people in the tier 20 to tier 21 range, and this is kind of who this is directed to. So the reason why we went with this build here and we're able to use something like reciprocal aid is because if we do rally, speed, defense, or something instead, we don't move our score up, which is very important to notice. So anytime you're looking at a unit like this and you're trying to build them into your arsenal, just make sure you can get away with certain things. Like, for example, renewal is generally my default to use for this sort of thing, but drag back is so insane to break up armor march, but it scores less. But in this case, it does not get us any higher. Alternatively, we use a blazing here. Blazing score more than regulars, but less than Aether. Aether we could score higher with, but again, 20,000 feathers, I'm not sure if I want to commit to that, and I don't need it yet, so no reason for me to do that. So let's go back to our default here. Actually, let's show her potential, what we could really get. And this is a 5-star plus 8 merge here. I went with plus attack, minus HP. And if we were to go Armor Smasher, instead, her max scoring potential, I'd probably go defense or res boost. I really like matching my defense and res in this arena because you're going to be facing so many armors and so many dragons. So we would score that, and then we could move up to Aether here instead. And we could probably, since we're using Aether and we did not go up a score range, we can probably use Brazen Attack Defense or something similar and go up more. But as you see, we don't, so it seems like getting to that 738 or higher is just a little too hard for her. Yeah, so this is why we experiment, right? We can see we can't go up any further with the Aether, so we might as well stick with a Blazing instead, and then we can probably stick with Fury, which I do think is just insane for this sort of mode. I noticed that's Life and Death instead. And we can probably stick with Drag Back as well. By the way, we can't stick with Drag Back, so we do need another skill to stay up there. So we go back to our good old Renewal or Wings of Mercy to score high enough. And by the way, if the person who's actually running this website can fix the sorting, I would be like so happy. Trying to sort through these things and find out, like, it's just nonsensical how they're sorted. Random rant there. I love the website, but just being able to make it a little better would just be fantastic. So next up, you don't want a 5-star Palla, but you've got a ton of them sitting in your barracks, and this is why I recommend saving all 4-star units, because you never know who you end up needing for arena and who can keep you in tier 21. Also, this does score 736 to 750 right now, which is way over enough that's needed. I really think 730 to 742 or 744 is kind of the minimum you want to hold tier 21, and that's with a lot of crests. I really like 734 to 748 better, obviously, and that's kind of my safe zone right now. But instead, if you're looking for a 4-star plus 10 Palla or something similar, I went with the same IVs here, and you can see typical 4-star Armor Slayer. You don't have to commit to a 20,000 feather weapon for her. We use Reciprocal Aid here because I think it's just the best if you don't need rallies for score, because you can get your hit in, heal yourself up to full Reciprocal Aid since the others shouldn't really be in combat, and get back into combat there. Brazen is insane as well. I tend to default to Brazen on units I really like, but alternatively, you could go down to Fury here. I think you lose some points here. You don't lose points, so perfect. This is actually better then. And you've got a fantastic unit. This is going to slaughter basically every single arena unit you run into. It'll handle all the dragons because their res is so high. It'll handle basically every single armor except for the new Brave Hector. And as long as you have full buffs with your Brave Hector and your special against him, you're going to be fine and you're going to take him out. As you can see in my Palla run that I'll do probably on stream today, I think. She's just insane. I love her so much. I love her to death. Next up is my second choice this time around. I almost went with Narcian instead of Palla. And the reason I went with Palla is because she was a red flyer instead of Narcian doubling up as my green flyer. We've got Slaying Hammer plus on him, and we're using 5-star plus 6, which I think is the max you can get right now. But of course, you could go down to plus 0 instead. And you'll be at 728 to 742. So this will get you into tier 21, but it probably won't hold you, which is why I have the merges in here. You'd probably want at least 3 merges or 4 merges to be able to stay in tier 21. Get that sweet, sweet crown. So again, the reason we go with Slaying Hammer Plus is because it is absolutely bonkers. It kills everything, and if you don't want to commit to Slaying Hammer Plus for 20,000 feathers, since you only use that arena, you can definitely just use a plain old hammer. You'll generally go down in arena points, but you'll kill things just fine. Like my Frederick was doing like 90 damage or something with a regular hammer. It's just nuts, nuts, nuts. And we have Aether here because when you're merging up to plus 6 or plus 7, it's probably worth it. But if not, I really like stuff like Luna for this, just to handle those armors a little better. And you can see at plus 6, 732 to 746, definitely going to hold you into tier 21. And this goes even higher if you are an armor unit. So next up is Gordin, and I don't think Gordin is the best option, but if he's your only option, he's your only option. I definitely would not do this, but it is what it is. We can get 730 to 744 with him, and this is Bravo Plus, Rally Attack, Res, Luna Deathblow, and Typical Renewal. Also, just as a side note, my Cs and Seals here don't really matter. I generally just pick whatever I have accessible that's the highest points, and go with that, because like ideally you want something like maybe attack like a ploy or a smoke or something like that, but nobody has enough fodder to do that every week. So instead I just pick whatever I have the most of and just give them that. If they can get away with something easier like a Fortify instead and it doesn't lower your score, definitely stick with that. So just as a heads up, your C is completely flexible. So this is your score with Gordin. You'll stay in tier 21 with this as well if you roll enough seals. Finally, we have Sharena here. And I love Sharena. She's so great, and I wanted to use her so badly, but she just did not score enough for me. This is about the best you can get. Like, granted, you can give her Aether here as well and go to 728 to 742, and then you can probably give her Distant Counter if you really want to go nuts. And then a Rally should boost her up one more. Wow, it doesn't even boost her up one more. So definitely don't give her DC because of that. So this is what I would do with Sharena, and I think she'll be great, but she just doesn't score enough. Again, enough to get you into tier 21, but not enough to hold, which is kind of the important part, I think. So just to give you an idea as well, what kind of stats your units have and why this works so well and why it's so easy to get all these bonus kills with these units. This is the +6 Narcian here, and he is going to be summoner supported. Always summoner support them. It takes like half an hour every 2 weeks to get your summoner support going. He's also going to get the TT bonus for being in arena, so +4 to all stats. He's also going to get 2 to each stat from a friend. I always pair people with either Erica or Camilla. If they're flyers or cavalry, I pair them with Camilla. If not, I pair them with Erica there. So just looking at his stats here is just insane. Like, he's gonna kill everything. He's got an effective weapon against everything. He's got 42 speed. He's got dual 40s defenses. This isn't even including all the tactics, all the drives, all the spurs, all the other buffs you have. Just absolutely will mow down the competition here. And the other good part is, because you're basically always against armors in these tiers, stuff like renewal and drag back will allow you to just heal infinitely and run around in circles till you get the best opportunity to finish them off. That's again really why I like renewal here. And just to give you an idea of Sharena's, we did the same thing here, and this is without a blessing as well. If you have blessings, you have so much more freedom for battles here. And she has pretty good stats, but nowhere near as good as Narcian there. Which is why, again, I think Narcian is just the better choice if you're willing to spend some merges. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching here. If you have any feedback on this is my first time doing one of these. I'm not sure how to compile this better. If I should have just an imager thing full of a bunch of images of builds I think you guys might use, or just have links everywhere. Let me know how to improve this for the future, because I know so many people want this information. I'm not sure this is the best way to give it to you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always. Tell me in the comments below how to improve this, and have a wonderful day and good luck on Arena. Let me know if you get a Fae Arena crown, because I love them so much. It's my goal in this game right now not to drop out of Tier 21. So have a great day, everybody. Bye!